on your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Because this is a proud damn state.
Streaming live from HitThatLine.com.
You can actually feel Razorback Stadium shaking underneath our feet right now.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Smackdown Jenkins.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Arkansas wins. The Hogs are still dancing to the Elite Eight for the first time since 1995.
I have been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Judging by the sound of it, so has everyone else.
Halftime today is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings in Fort Smith, Conway, Little Rock, Sherwood, and Jonesboro.
Buffalo Wild Wings, roar!
Hey, hold on, it's almost halftime.
Hey, hello, and welcome to what is it? We got a lot of things that are today. I mean, we'll get the dumb one out of the way early here, because let's be honest, we're sort of foolish like every day.
True.
So April Fool's Day isn't a thing here for halftime today. It's just not going to be.
It's just another Thursday. It's another day.
Well, it isn't really just another day. There's other things that are reasoning to celebrate, or at least point them out. Major League Baseball opening day. It's like 4 months earlier than it was last season. Thank goodness. You're actually going to get a real season instead of 60.
Phil, you didn't hear they canceled opening day.
They really did.
April Fools.
I know.
No, you aren't even kidding. They've already postponed one game from opening day.
Oh, well then
but that's April the real thing. That's the real thing. That actually happened. The Red Sox home opener, I think, is
Matty's already breaking news.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, get it ready just in case. Who knows what'll happen, because
we've had a lot of breaking news already this morning.
Well, what else is April 1st? It's Bobby Petrino Motorcycle Day, right?
Yeah.
That's another one that's not worth celebrating, is it? No.
That's where the downfall of Razorback football started.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, I can't believe it. That was
20.
Was that 10 years ago?
It's 20.
It couldn't have been that long ago. Certainly not.
Yeah. No, it was 2012.
2012, 9 years ago.
It was 2011.
Right.
Yeah, it was the 20.
Yeah.
It was after.
Exactly what it was. It was 9 years ago. I remember that. So, yeah, all that stuff is much more than April Fool's Day. That's for sure. This is going to be a prank-free zone. We'll just act like our the normal idiots that we usually act like day after day. And you can get in on that, too, 877-377-6963. Yeah, this is exactly the way I feel about it. Brandon in Paris hits it right on the nose. Although I wonder if you made this up, Brandon. This looks like a meme. April Fool's Day is canceled this year because no made-up prank could match the unbelievable crap going on in the world right now. Is that about right?
I mean,
is that about right?
That's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. I think that's about right. It's also an opening day for Arkansas baseball against Auburn. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that series with Andy Burcham, who's the voice of Auburn baseball and men's basketball, and also football. And we got a bunch of stuff involving football with Andy. We recorded the interview with him before the show started. So, yeah, 6:30 first pitch, 6:32 first pitch. Let's be exact about it. Bubba and I get on the air at 6, and it's not a team to take lightly. You're going to look at an 0-6 record and say, oh, yeah, Arkansas can go sweep. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying they won't. But I think Auburn is better than an 0-6 team. This is one of the better offensive teams in the SEC. Had some trouble pitching, but they're throwing a guy tonight in Cody Greenhill. It's been one of the best starting pitchers in the SEC over his first handful of starts. So yeah, we'll zero in on that quite a bit. Lots of big news from college basketball coming out today.
Yeah, I was going
the sort of stuff that really makes you like, wow, holy moly! Roy Williams has retired. And Chris Beard has taken the Texas job. Although I don't think it's been confirmed by. Has it been confirmed by either of the schools? It's been confirmed by sources.
Well,
that well-known and well-respected media members have. So I believe the word that's out there.
If ESPN's reporting it, and it like I said, nothing's been official, but the last one I've gotten was from Jeff Borsello saying Texas is expected to hire Texas Tech's Chris Beard, which is just bonkers. And
what?
What? That's a great way to put it. And we mentioned like it's opening day for Major League Baseball, opening day for Razorback Baseball versus Auburn. Opening is the perfect adjective to describe halftime today between all that and the openings with these head coaching jobs, which we're going to get into a little bit. The North Carolina opening is frightening to me.
I get it. Is it more frightening to you than the Texas opening was?
No.
Texas scared you more?
No. North Carolina scares me more than Texas does
Because of how blue blood it is,
exactly.
Right? Because of the
because coaches like Eric Musselman, and I'm not insinuating anything, and I may be way off base, but you got guys like Eric Musselman. I would even throw Chris Beard into the mix. You got those young, well-established coaches or young coaches that are really starting to get going in this thing. And I know Coach Musselman isn't young, but he's young to college basketball. And he's done well at every stop he's been to. That's the kind of coach that I would think North Carolina would go after. And he's seen what he can do. But, yeah.
Let's look at it this way. So Indiana used to be a blue blood. Mm-hmm. You would have been afraid of the Indiana job 20, 25 years ago. But that's a long time back now. I mean, that's why, to me, Indiana is the Tennessee and Texas of college basketball. The Tennessee and Texas being college football programs that continuously are telling you they're on the way back, and they still aren't on the way back. Indiana's not on the way back. So who are the real blue blood programs in college basketball that could hire away a coach like Eric Musselman that seems to really love the gig here, has I think a pipeline of talent from a state that has a lot of good basketball playing kids here, playing in a league where you look like you're one of the top 3-4 programs in the league right now, no doubt about that, and you're going to get a raise. You are without question about to get a raise, and you've got a fan base that absolutely adores you after just 2 years. Going to North Carolina is a completely different thing. Look, it's not like they got to rebuild that program. Right. They still had themselves a halfway decent year. In the year where Kentucky didn't make the tournament, where who else that we're usually following that failed? Duke Kentucky didn't get in.
You might throw I would say UCLA in there as well, but I mean, heck, UCLA's in the Final Four, so they turned it around. But it's those programs like that. You might even throw Kansas into the mix.
I understand the idea of being a little afraid of North Carolina because that is still one of the big brand names. They haven't won a national championship in a while, but what was the last one? 2000? No, they have 2017. So sure.
But it's not like you're right. They haven't fell off the map like an Indiana has.
And they're still right there. I mean, Roy Williams kept them at the level that Dean Smith had them on, and they might have been, in some cases, even better in a couple of cases. So. It's not like you're inheriting a program that needs to be rebuilt, which is the same thing that Muss inherited when he came to Arkansas. Mike Anderson didn't leave the program in terrible shape. It wasn't burnt to the ground or anything, It's not like you're taking the Kansas football job here or anything like that. So I understand why you'd be a little afraid of it. But on the other hand, just the history of their hires. When you look at the history of their hires, and how many years did Dean Smith coach them? So after that, it was Bill. What was his name? Bill Guthridge, was that his name? The guy who had been his longtime top assistant, then takes the job after Dean retires, and then after I don't remember if he was fired or not, or whether he retired or whatnot. Then it's Matt Doherty, who was a former North Carolina Tar Heel, and then after Doherty is let go, they bring in Roy Williams, who coached under Dean Smith for years. So they have this track record of going after North Carolina guys. And Eric Musselman is not a North Carolina guy. So that's one thing I wonder. And I don't know who's out there, North Carolina players or former coaches that would be targeted. That's the thing for me that I feel like North Carolina is one of those programs that goes after their own to be the head coach.
Marcus Carlton, you took the words right out of my mouth. Marcus Carlton at Superhawk32 tweeted at me. He just says, "Relax, Jenkins. Carolina won't hire outside the quote family." And then. And you're 100% right, because I mean it's probably like the same conversation we had about Chad Morris and the hiring of Sam Pittman. What was the whole thing about Chad Morris when he was fired? Is like he didn't get the Arkansas style of football. So what I mean, yes, Sam Pittman's a great coach.
I think there was a lot he didn't get.
There was a lot he didn't get, but that was one of the main things. Is like he didn't understand the pride of Arkansas, blah 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 blah, all that. Sam Pittman does. And Sam Pittman's one of these Arkansas guys because in our minds, he gets it. The same thing could probably be said about North Carolina as well. I mean, just with everything about it. Evan in Fayetteville text us in. You could text us in. Let us know your reactions, 877-377-6963. He says he's not worried about any college teams going after Muss. He's been reading a lot about the Celtics possibly moving on from Brad Stevens at the end of the year, and that's when he would get scared.
I don't know. Look, I understand Muss comes from the NBA and from professional basketball, but I also think there was a reason that he wanted to become a college head coach. You have more power. You have more control over everything. You're essentially you're the general manager of your program. it's a lot different. Look, will Muss eventually go back to the NBA? I don't know. I don't see it happening right now or anytime soon. And I really don't think that's just me trying to be positive about the Arkansas basketball program, because we're just a few days after, being knocked out in the Elite Eight, and we had so much fun this season watching these guys play. And a lot of it was because Muss seems like such a great and entertaining and fun head coach. I don't think he's going to the NBA right now or anytime soon. I don't think he's going to North Carolina. I think his name, however, I don't have any Eric Musselman autographs, but however he autographs it, I think that autograph is going on a new contract at Arkansas sometime soon. 877-377-6963. Halftime right back.
The Hog Talk Podcast.
The offensive side of the football for the Razorback, if you look at this recruiting class, what you've got coming back in 2021, even a couple of years beyond that, you're looking pretty good on the offensive side. Do they hold true to that? Are they going to be a great offense, as long as Kendall's here or as long as Sam Pittman's here? I don't know, but I like the direction in which they are headed.
Check out the Hog Talk Podcast. Find it on hitthatline.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The biggest selection, the best values, and more for your trade at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. No one beats the selection at Harry Robinson, with over 500 vehicles of all makes and models in stock today. Some as low as 500 miles, many less than 10,000 miles with full factory warranty. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
This song might make you feel cool, but it perfectly describes a fool. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road and gonna ride till I can't no more, and can't nobody tell me nothing. This path will only lead you to God's wrath, because the Bible says the wicked refuse discipline and treat his words like trash. What good is a nice beat when you're headed down the wrong street? I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
This song might make you feel cool, but it perfectly describes.
It's a big job just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. But I've been working, man, dang near all my life, and I'll keep on working. Long as my two hands are fit to use. I'll drink my beer in a tavern.
The set, the pitch to Moore. Swung on, hit high in the air to deep center. Sturgeon's on the run, and that is off the top of the fence and bounces away from him. 2-run score. Moore's already at second, and Nate Thompson holds him up at third base. A 2-run triple for the lead from Robert Moore.
The Morning Rush and Halftime will be live at Game Day Lodge in Branson April 5th and 6th. Check out the Game Day Lodge on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Airbnb.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags, we're leaving there tomorrow.
Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and SmackDown.
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and I got to tell you, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. But these guys, during the commercial break, are making sure that I'm perked up for tonight's baseball broadcast. Though I'm going to need to take a nap or something. This heartburn's killing me in the middle of the night. Got to do something about it. It's really not fun.
Do you have to sleep propped up?
No, I'm not at that point yet, but maybe that's what I should do. Although, really, it's just a matter of the right medication. But heartburn is a killer. Mm-hmm. It's not good for people that use their voice either. Really not good. All right, so we got a lot into Desi Sills transferring out of Arkansas yesterday. What about transferring in? And, we kind of put it on notice. When was this? Monday? When Sasha Goforth announced on her Twitter feed, which is Goforth Sasha, that she is leaving the Oregon State basketball program to be closer to her home. And I saw in Whole Hog Sports in the newspaper that Mike Neighbors said the moment he saw that tweet, he waited 30 seconds to call her, and 5 minutes later, she was a Razorback. So she knew exactly where she wanted to go the moment that before she sent that tweet out. And, for players that are going into the NCAA tournament, and Oregon State's women did, Arkansas's men did, don't you feel like they already know what they're planning to do well before the tournament even starts?
Absolutely.
Like for Sasha, look, Oregon State's a good basketball program. Historically, they've gotten very far for a long time. I know they were in the tournament again this year. They've lost a couple of players off that team to transfer, aside from Goforth, but it feels like there was a homesick thing there. So, hey, now she's a Razorback, and man, you've got a lot of comings and a lot of goings from the women's basketball team. Like Jalen Mason is transferring for her last year. Taylor Thomas is doing the same thing. Macy Weaver's transferring out. Grace Spangler announced she was retiring. Destiny McGee transfers already to Alabama Birmingham. So it feels like there's this exodus, but this is just what happens. This is what happens year in, year out, And
more so now than any other year.
Well, yeah, because there's this added year of eligibility, and the players who are seniors know they've got another year if they want to try some other place.
Well, the whole scope of college basketball, not just with the men's, but women's, is changing too because of the transfer portal. And especially now, because if the NCAA passes this vote where you get the one-time transfer rule, which that's happening after the Final Four, if that becomes enacted, what we're seeing now is fixing to get blown out of the water even more.
Yeah, and the consistency in women's rosters is so much more so than the men because there is no one and done. There is no two and done for the WNBA. You got to play 3 years, and then you can go into the draft, just like it used to be in men's basketball. So the one and done and two and done in the men's side, for me, is really why it can be so difficult to keep track of a team. And then there's the transfers on top of it. And, I know that that's really just for the top levels of college basketball. But, hey, the SEC is one of those. Goforth is an interesting player because she's a guard at 6'1". So you look at 2 incoming guards for next year. It's really something else. Jersey Wolfenberger is a 6'5" point guard. she might still be growing. And Sasha Goforth is a 6'1" guard. And then there's Michaela Daniels, who, of course, has been at Arkansas for a couple of years, 5'8" guard, a water bug compared to the rest of those other two. So that's going to be really interesting because now, look, Chelsea Dungy played guard. She's a little, I guess you'd say, a little bigger than the regular women's basketball guard. Amber Ramirez maybe a little smaller. Destiny Slocum maybe a little smaller. Their quickness, I think, stood for itself. But Goforth is big for a guard, and certainly so is Jersey. So. She can score, she can dish, she can block shots. This is kind of an all-around basketball player. It's a huge get for Mike Neighbors for 2020. 2021, 2022. And certainly, you kind of you look at the players that are leaving and wonder what's going on. I don't think there's anything going on. Nothing in the negative sense. I think that you'll probably see more transfers make their way to Arkansas because Mike plays the style of basketball that a lot of top-notch talent want to play. 877-377-6963. So Chris Beard is gone from Texas Tech. And what was it, 5 years at Tech? They signed him to a contract extension after the Final Four. But I guess that's Texas just has more money than anybody else in that state. I guess maybe than Texas A&M. I think A&M's they might have a little bit more on the revenue side than Texas, even with the Longhorn Network. But maybe it was impossible for him to turn it down. Would you say that Longhorns basketball is the best or the top-level program in the state? It isn't. Baylor is. And so that's what they're trying to do. You want to get Texas on top of Baylor as far as that's concerned in that state, and you still got to battle OSU and Kansas. And he's also not inheriting a program that's completely destroyed. Like, at Texas Tech, I don't think he had that much to build off of. Here at Texas, you've got a roster. You got a team already. So it's just, is he a job jumper? Remember, in Little Rock 1 year, UNLV 1 week, Texas Tech 5 years, now Texas. And that's a job that's kind of been difficult to hold on to for a long time. Just ask Shaka Smart.
Well, for me, I think Chris Beard comes down to him. He succeeded everywhere he's been. He did it at Euler. He's done it at Texas Tech at the highest level, taking them to the national championship game. And there's no sense to believe that he won't do it now. So, I mean, good on Texas for getting this move done. But what is it? What does a move like this mean to, like, Texas Tech? Is just almost like a big middle finger. It's like, screw y'all, I'm out of here.
Oh, it's got to crush them. It's got to crush them.
Absolutely.
Really.
And it'd be different if he left Texas Tech to go to Kansas or Arkansas or something like that. You're going against your rivals. You're going to the rival school. You're going to the school that everybody in the Big 12 probably hates the most.
Yeah. What's going to be the reaction when Beard comes back to Lubbock for the first game? I mean, think about it, though. They've never been to as far as I know, they were never in a Final Four before him. They almost won the national championship. I mean, that put Lubbock on the map for college basketball. And now he's in Texas. What's the reaction when he comes back? Are they going to boo him crazy?
I would.
Or are they going to remember the Final Four? Or are they just going to be like, you know what? Screw you. You went to Texas, and we can't take that.
Well, what would you, if you're I mean, like I said, it'd be 100 times different if he goes anywhere else. But the fact is that he went to Texas. I'm
interested to see a part of it also is like, so what's the money? What's the money? What was he making at Tech? Over $5 million? What is Texas bringing him? Because if that's what it's about, if it is about money and it's an extra $3 million or $2 million, I mean, how can you say no?
That's true.
How can you say no? With the resources there too. Look, and they're going to redo the Irwin Center. That basketball arena is not nice. It isn't. So they're going to redo that from what I've heard. But you're still, look at Texas Tech. I understand it's Texas, so football's number one, but that turned into a basketball school for the 5 years he was there. Texas basketball is, do they care about it very much? Well, I guess so, because they're going to hire a great coach in Chris Beard. But if you were worried about Musk going to Texas, you would have acted the same way. You would have been pretty ticked off about it. I'm reminded by Chandler and Van Buren, I'm forgetting about Ilana Eaton. He's right. He called her the 5-star freshman that got hurt this year. That's Ilana Eaton out of Jonesboro. She's another tall guard that can score. And so it's going to be you're really going to have a remade Arkansas women's basketball backcourt next year, made up of some really incredible in-state talent. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Wolfenberger's from Fort Smith. You got Eaton from Jonesboro, and Sasha Goforth is from Fayetteville. So it's got to feel like the men, like what the men had with the freshmen this year, right?
100%. And I'm kind of curious with Mike Neighbors, and we could talk more about this later on. Does Neighbors need to try to go after a big? Which I understand that like they kind of just take what they can off the rebounding end because that's not necessarily their style, but Phil, just seems to me that if they had one big or not necessarily a big, but just someone that could go up and get rebounds when they need to, like that might have taken that team to the next level.
Part of the thing is that, you can't just plop a big in there because they're big with this style of play. They've got to be able to move. They've got to be able to run the floor. They've got to be quick. They can't just be big. I think that seems to me like it's difficult to find. You know, I mean, there's how many Aaliyah Bostons are out there in the world?
True.
You know what I mean? How many Tierra McGowans are out there in the world? But, you know, I think Destiny McGee, they were hoping that she would be like that, or Destiny Oberg. Oberg's still with the program, so maybe next year, you know, you'll see her at the center position. But that's one thing about McGee. I thought we didn't really see her enough to know whether or not, and obviously she wasn't up to par because she would have been playing more if she was. Looks like we got a call, so let's go to that before we welcome in our friend Bob Holt in a moment. It is Cody on halftime. Hey, Cody, what's going on?
Hey, not much, guys. Hey, so with all the transfer stuff going on, not quite sure what has been the thought or consensus for most of the Razorback fans, but man, you know how in business and things like that, basically you say nobody's replaceable. Well, I think what we're starting to see in a lot of situations is we're starting to rise our standard as far as Razorback basketball goes, just like the baseball team did. And what you have is you're going to have situations, and these kids get upset and emotional and post things, you know, but as they get older, they'll understand that Musselman has a job to do. He's brought more attention and more value to the University of Arkansas's basketball program, so therefore you have more people wanting to come that are more talented. And Musselman's job is to put the best 5 players on the court at all times. And that's changed. Maybe back in the day that was the standard and you were good enough to be on the floor at that point, but that's not valid anymore. You've got a lot of talented people wanting to come to Arkansas. They see the success. They see Musselman's NBA relationships. They see Isaiah Joe. They see Mason Jones translating into the NBA. You see things like that. So at the end of the day, you just have to be able to put those things together and understand you're not the same fit that you were 2 or 3 years ago from the current state of the program. So, I mean, you can either get better or you can make a better decision for yourself, but in no way, shape, or form is it the fans' fault or is it anybody else's fault for what's happened. You know, it comes down to the decision you made and your abilities inside yourself. And I know that might seem a little harsh, but it's really, when you take away everything, it's the truth. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think they're trying to do what everybody is trying to do what's best for them. Somebody that transfers out, they don't think they're getting enough playing time, or maybe they realize that they're never going to get that playing time that they wanted at that level. So, you know, like in the case of a Destiny McGee, she might not have ever played on a consistent basis in the SEC. She goes to Conference USA. UAB's good, you know, halfway decent basketball program, probably going to get a lot more run. It's the same with Desi Sills, you know. I think the writing was on the wall. It's really difficult for him to break through the lineup, especially when Devo Davis does the same stuff that he does. And I think Devo is going to develop that outside shot that Desi had on occasion. So I think for him, he's just doing what's best for him, and Muss has to know that. I'm sure he knows that. This is different than like an Isaiah Joe saying, I'm back, and then a week later saying, forget about it. Like, if you want to have hard feelings about that, I get it. That would make sense. This is totally different. You know, maybe this is something they'd already spoken about before the season ended. Maybe it was pretty obvious, but I've already seen where Muss, you know, I don't think he holds anything against him.
And that's so honest, because at the same time, whenever we found out Mason and Isaiah were both leaving, everybody naturally, Razorback fans, were a little worried. But we go to the Elite Eight this year. After that had transpired, so I mean, whatever Muss is doing, he's got the respect and the trust of Razorback Nation. So, I mean, going forward, I don't think there's any doubt. Whatever Muss has control of what he's doing, he is a CEO with a great vision. And as long as he keeps that vision, we're going to be successful. Hopefully we can come up with some money. I still don't even know why you would want to go to Texas. As far as basketball tradition goes, there's not a huge gap there. The only places that would worry me is someone like UCLA or USC. Ty mentioned that the other day. But they had good enough runs to hold them over this year for their coaches to keep their jobs. But as far as everything goes, he deserves a raise. COVID hitting, I hope we can do that. But all in all, man, I'm just super happy, and people got to understand it all comes down to your decisions and what you've done. Everybody's got to make a decision for their best interest, and as far as the entire program goes, it's nobody's fault. It's just some people are better fits in other places. But anyway, y'all have a good day, guys.
Thanks, Cody.
Appreciate it, Cody.
We got to run because we got Bob Holt coming up in just a moment here. It's just a reality of college sports now. I don't think it's a matter of being bad or good. It's just it's okay to have players have a little more freedom of movement to decide where they're going to spend a good chunk of their life, and happen to be the formative years of their life as well. I had trouble sleeping last night because of heartburn. But if you are having trouble sleeping because of sleep apnea, and maybe one of the reasons you're having trouble sleeping with your sleep apnea is because you've got a CPAP machine, and it makes a ton of noise, and it's really annoying, and you really just can't stay asleep with that thing. Plus, you got to clean the darn thing all the time. Get a hold of Dr. Bo Sparkman at Family Dental Care of Fort Smith. They'll help with your sleep apnea with a custom dental appliance. Gets rid of the annoying CPAP machine. They've been doing this for years. It's 479-785-1419 for Dr. Bo Sparkman, Family Dental Care of Fort Smith. And Halftime's back with Bob Holt.
Hi, I'm calling to schedule a shipment.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can turn your business upside down.
Last pickup is at 7. Team, we gotta hustle.
Like at Sumita's online chai company.
You what my friends Jason and Sarah Everett have to offer you at the Game Day Lodge. A pool table, the poker table, bago, arcades, private basketball court. There's an outdoor pool and also a heated indoor pool open year-round, just a few steps away from Game Day Lodge. Game Day Lodge is just a 5-minute drive to Moonshine Beach on Table Rock and just a 5-minute walk down to Table Rock Lake. 10 minutes from Silver Dollar City. This lodge has 10 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, 2 laundry rooms, 2 fully equipped kitchens, and 17 televisions. Plus an outdoor fire pit when it gets chilly outside. Game Day Lodge features some of your favorite teams, including Arkansas, Dallas, and Kansas City. Just search Game Day Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can make a reservation by just emailing them. Reservations@lakelodges.rent or check them out on Airbnb and Vrbo. Game Day Lodge is your #1 destination for family weekends, golf trips, Arkansas away games, corporate retreats, and so much more. Game Day Lodge in Branson. You'll never want to leave.
Car wrecks involving big rigs can be very complex, so the sooner you get me involved, the better. This is why you need to have my number in your phone, because this could be you. I'm Phil Votaw. You never met a lawyer like me.
I want to tell you what my friends Jason and Sarah Everett have to offer you at the Game Day Lodge. A pool table, the poker table, bago, arcades, private basketball court. There's an outdoor pool and also a heated indoor pool open year-round, just a few steps away from Game Day Lodge. Game Day Lodge is just a 5-minute drive to Moonshine Beach on Table Rock and just a 5-minute walk down to Table Rock Lake. 10 minutes from Silver Dollar City. This lodge has 10 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, 2 laundry rooms, 2 fully equipped kitchens, and 17 televisions. Plus an outdoor fire pit when it gets chilly outside. Game Day Lodge features some of your favorite teams, including Arkansas, Dallas, and Kansas City. Just search Game Day Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can make a reservation by just emailing them. Reservations@lakelodges.rent or check them out on Airbnb and Vrbo. Game Day Lodge is your #1 destination for family weekends, golf trips, Arkansas away games, corporate retreats, and so much more. Game Day Lodge in Branson. You'll never want to leave.
You're a name, not a number. Call them today at 479-997-2366 or apply online at BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
You deserve to get good service and great rates. At State Farm, we get it. And we're here to help because with every State Farm policy, you get good neighbor service and you get surprisingly great rates. So what are you waiting for? Get going and talk to a local State Farm agent about your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
When you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Jason Glover in Fort Smith today.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Battles another drive to deep left center field. Could it be two today? Yes! Jalen Battles hits his second home run of the game. That was a rocket.
The Morning Rush, Halftime, Ruskin and Zach, the Hog Talk Podcast. Trusting the process, primetime preps, all available on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Built by Breeden RV Center. Family owned and operated, a no-pressure, laid-back atmosphere, and always home of the free maintenance for life. Just type Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and SmackDown.
And our very good friend Bob Holt joining us here on Halftime from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always read his stuff at Whole Hog Sports, too. And we've got him here on a Thursday, as usual. Bob, thanks for coming on, as always. What's going on? You have anything freeze outside your house this morning?
I don't think so. I haven't really been out, but I don't think anything did. I mean, I don't grow plants and vegetables and things like that, so I just buy those things if I need them, you know.
Well, I don't either, but at some point I'm going to have to. I just realized, and I should have known this, because on the new suites, the new outdoor suites in right field at Baum-Walker Stadium, they've got the the 25th anniversary of Baum-Walker Stadium logo up there. And pretty much, like, this week is the 25th anniversary. And the stadium opened in 96 this weekend against Auburn. So it all makes sense. Auburn's coming in to be here for the 25th anniversary, and the ballpark looked. Baum-Walker's. I didn't see Baum Stadium when it opened then, Bob. I think you did. Does it even look like the same stadium?
Yeah, it looks a lot different. I was at that weekend. And Matt Jones wrote a really good story about that on Whole Hogs right now. Some of the top games. So he give a plug there. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe, but and it was very nice at the time. Certainly a huge upgrade over George Cole Field. And but the chairback seats just went maybe to where the dugouts were, or something like that. And they had what we call the burn. I think we spelled it BERN, but it was just this grassy area that fans could sit on. A lot of times you see little kids out there rolling down them. So I think it had 4 skyboxes. I think that's right, something like that. And so now, what do they have, 30-something, I think? So
and a waiting list for those 30.
Oh, yeah, but they basically built the chairback seats, from extended them from, the dugout area all the way to the foul poles, or I think you like to call them the fair poles.
I just call them the big yellow poles these days.
Yeah, and then they've added all, basically to where the outfield ends, and then basically out to where the hog pen area starts. And then they added skyboxes all the way out there. But I might be wrong about this. Norman probably, Norm DeBryan, or maybe Kevin Trainer. But I think there were 4 skyboxes, which at the time that seemed like a lot for baseball. You thought, well, gosh, that's enough for somebody from Walmart, somebody from Tyson, whatever. And now, of course, they've done that basically 10 times. And I know in the master plan they talked about adding some, out in the outfield. So, and the skybox, obviously, you get a ton of revenue from those. It's great to get all the ticket revenue, but the skybox, your revenue is astronomical.
Well, and it's really cool to think about the idea that when Baum Stadium opened initially in '96, Baseball America said this is the best college ballpark in America. Here it is, 25 years later. The stadium looks completely different. You have an arms race with Arkansas and essentially, I think with Mississippi State, LSU is not really added on to the box very much, but Dudy Noble Field is completely 100% brand new. Auburn, Florida's got the new ballpark as well, but still, Baseball America still refers to Baum-Walker Stadium as the best college ballpark in America 25 years after they did it the first time. I think that stands for something, don't you?
Oh, yeah, and of course the ballpark's evolved since then, grown, I guess, like a person would. It's just, it seats a whole lot more, and of course, the demand has been there. And, you wonder how many people they could put in there for a regional or a super regional if they had, 20,000 seats. Maybe they could sell it. Obviously, that doesn't make sense to have that many seats, but yeah, I think it's basically like a AAA type ballpark. And it's very impressive when you drive past it, and I'm sure when other teams come in, then they're very impressive. Right. I haven't been to. I've seen the outside of the ballpark in Mississippi State when I've been there for basketball games. I've never actually covered a baseball game there, and you have obviously a better feel for all the ballparks around the league than I do. But and I guess LSU built a whole new Alex Box. They kept the name, but they built a whole new stadium. But I have not been in that one, but I doubt it's as good as Baum Stadium. You've been there, I guess. So, but yeah, it's impressive. It's kind of like Walton Arena. Walton Arena's opened in '94, and I haven't obviously been to every inch of that place. But to me, it still seems like it's brand new. I mean, you don't feel like it's an aging facility. Sometimes you go on these older facilities and you feel like, well, this thing's kind of showing its age. I don't really feel that way with Walton Arena or Baum Stadium. Those seem like they're as nice as they were when they opened it. And obviously Baum Stadium's nicer. It's bigger. It was very nice then, but it's even nicer now.
Bob Holt joining us here on Halftime. Bob, let's transition over to basketball just for a second. Obviously, some of the bigger news that dropped on us yesterday, Desi Sills announcing he is transferring from the University of Arkansas. And I think when that news broke, Bob, it kind of surprised me a little bit just because I didn't necessarily expect him to transfer. But the more I thought about it, and the more you kind of just took a scope out of how he started the year versus how the year ended, I'm a little bit less surprised that he decided to transfer. What was your initial reaction to Desi Sills announcing he's leaving Arkansas?
I think I was a little initially surprised. When you start crunching the numbers, he obviously, last year as a sophomore, he averaged 10.6 points. This year, his scoring went down to 7.5. I think he hurt his shoulder against Mississippi State, making one of his patented, hard drives the basket, and he got slammed, didn't get a call. Eric Musselman was so mad he got a technical foul when they didn't call foul, but. And then Desi didn't miss any games. I think they were supposed to play. That was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. They were supposed to play A&M that Saturday, and A&M had to postpone the game. And Eric said a couple days before that game, Desi probably wouldn't be able to play, or maybe he said it afterwards. He probably wouldn't have been able to play. But so I think that shoulder injury probably bothered him somewhat the rest of the year, because I remember after he had a big game at South Carolina, he hit 5-7 threes, career high for threes he hit. Played really well in that game. And he was on the Zoom after the game, and I asked him, I just kind of assumed that, it was a month after he got hurt. I said, I guess your shoulder must be feeling better. And he kind of hedged a little bit, and he said, it's still hurting me, And so I think that's maybe something you don't get over while you're playing. It was on his left shoulder, and he's left-handed shooting, so I think that impacted his shooting. But he still played, hard and played well. The last two games he played 31 minutes. His last game as a Razorback, he played 31 minutes in an Elite Eight game. And he didn't score a lot. His last two games, Earl Robertson played 28. He had 2 points with 6 rebounds and 4 assists in each of those games. So he was making plays. He wasn't scoring a lot, but he was making plays for other guys. He was making sure Arkansas got extra possessions with those rebounds. So, but his playing time was sporadic. If you look at the game by games, he was playing 5 minutes and 20-something minutes and 4 minutes. And, the game before against Texas Tech, the game before Earl Robertson played 3 minutes, I think. So, I think in his playing time after he got hurt went down from about 26 on average to 13. So, and obviously Devo Davis's emergence, and you feel like Eric's going to add some more transfers and might add, maybe another high school guy or JUCO guy. You never know. And feel like J.D. Note is going to get better. So, I think maybe Desi thought, well, I want to go someplace and consistently get 30-something minutes, because he averaged 30 minutes as a sophomore. So when your playing time goes from 30 to 20, I can see where a guy feels like, hey, I want to go somewhere I can play more,
Yeah. Bob, before we let you go, just want to get your thoughts on obviously some huge coaching news has dropped today. Chris Beard, reported to be the new head coach of Texas. Roy Williams retiring from North Carolina. So I guess just point blank, when is your check and Musselman going to sign this extension? Because not necessarily Texas Tech, but the opening in North Carolina scares me just a little bit that may try to make the jump to the blue blood. But aside from that, 2 big openings that are going to be open here in college basketball.
Yeah, I was surprised. Roy Williams obviously isn't the kid anymore, but I still was a bit surprised. I don't think I can remember a year like this where Indiana, North Carolina, Texas, Oklahoma, programs like that all opened up. Obviously, Oklahoma's not North Carolina or Indiana from the tradition standpoint, but it's still a top, 25, top 30 job. I think they're going to get. I think Arkansas, Hunter Yurchek, the AD, are going to get this deal done with Eric pretty quickly. I know talking to Hunter last week or whatever it was recently, he said he talks to Eric every day and talks to his agent, Jordan Bazant, once a week. I'm sure they're not talking about the weather, so I got to believe that Hunter and Jordan Bazant probably had the parameters of extension worked out, and it's probably just a matter of finalizing. Now, I may be wrong about that. I personally would not want, if I'm going to get a really good deal at Arkansas, I personally would not want to be the guy to follow Roy Williams at North Carolina. They always say don't follow the legend, follow the guy that follows the legend. And I don't, North Carolina has a history of having a Tar Heel, so I don't know if they would promote, Hubert Davis, who was a great player there. But they certainly had a history with, promoting Bill Guthridge and then bringing in Matt Doherty. That didn't work. They finally convinced Roy Williams on the second round of him to come back. So that's obviously a huge job. I mean, North Carolina's in the top, 4 or 5 jobs in the country. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't know if Roy Williams said that had been his long-term plan, and maybe he thought, like, hey, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I need some time to think about it. So that's why it's a couple weeks after North Carolina's season ended. But that's huge news. And, of course, Chris Beard took the UNLV job from ULI, and after a week or two went to Texas Tech, so maybe he'll take the Texas job and leave for North Carolina. I don't know.
Bob, you're the best. Appreciate you as always.
Thanks, Bob.
Looking forward to doing it again next week after the national championship is decided.
Okay, you guys take care.
You got it. Bob Holt, Democrat Gazette, sports writer extraordinaire, and our favorite Thursday guest. Later on, we've got Andy Burcham, the radio voice of all things Auburn athletics. And don't forget about the Yumdinger. This is what you want in your tackle box if you're looking to catch largemouth bass that right now are spawning all across the lakes and ponds of Arkansas and Oklahoma. And the Yumdinger is made in Fort Smith by Pradco Outdoor Fishing Lures in 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch sizes. Wacky rigging the 5-inch model can't be beat for spawning bass, and you'll find the Yumdinger at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores everywhere. The Yumdinger. 877-377-6963. We'll come back, wrap up the first hour right after this.
Spring is here, and Jelco Outdoors has all the great gear for getting outside and enjoying the great outdoors. Hiking shoes and boots by Danner, Keene, and Solomon. All your fishing gear for crappie, bass, and catfish. Fishing kayaks, clothing, footwear, and more. Check out the great selection at Jelco. Turkey hunters, Jelco has all the calls and gear to help you bag that big tom this spring. Get out and enjoy spring. Get to Jelco Outdoors for all your spring gear. 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Picture a can of paint. Now picture a professional painter. Now picture a can of paint from the paint store in Van Buren, perfectly applied by a professional or possibly you. Painting your house could be a pain, and people who think painting as a pain prefer professional paint and pointers from the paint store in Van Buren. The paint store has the best Richards paint and expertly picked colors specifically for you. Need a professional product or a professional? It's the paint store in Van Buren.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recordings anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless, at 479-478-6616. That's 479-478-6616 for more details. Or stop by our location at 601 Church Street in Barling, next to Frank Rowe Furniture. Or visit us online at www.shopwownow.com. That's shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Whether you're fishing for coldwater bass on Beaver Lake or Table Rock, or fishing for a trophy brown trout on the mighty White River, the Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue will catch them. It has that famous rolling action whether it's fished extremely slow or worked fast in heavy current. This Rogue suspends, so it will stay in the strike zone longer, allowing you to catch more fish. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue.
If you're looking for an all-you-can-eat destination, head to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren. Now serving family-style all-you-can-eat dinner. Catfish, chicken tenders, fried shrimp, fries, and all the fixins. All you can eat for only $22.95. Add crab legs for just $20 more. They still have the 2- and 4-piece dinners available. Head to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren. Now open Thursday through Saturday, 11 till 8. Sundays, 11 till 3. The Catfish Kitchen at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
For more than 80 years, Forsgren Inc. has been building the foundations of the River Valley and beyond. Forsgren is now hiring experienced dump truck drivers. CDL Class A or B license with medical card is required. Apply now online at forsgreninc.com. Forsgren is a heritage company and a premier employer, offering top wages and benefits. Apply today at forsgreninc.com. Apply online today. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Need a little extra cash? Go see Rusty at Golden Gym Pond, 310 West Center in Greenwood. Get the money you need with loans on jewelry, guns, tools, and electronics. If you're looking for a gift, they have a large selection of jewelry to choose from, and Rusty can take care of all jewelry repair. Stop by Golden Gym Pond today, 310 West Center in Greenwood, or call 996-2792. Open 9 to 5:30 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and 9 to 3 on Wednesday. Golden Gym Pond.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
It's been 7 hours and 13 days.
2-1 on Leach. And he rips one deep to right field, all the way to the corner. Dylan Leach with his first career home run as a Razorback. And he hit it about 2/3 up the net that protects the new development center. A prodigious blast by Dylan Leach.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Smackdown Jenkins. Enter the HitThatLine.com $1 Million Bracket Challenge, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings and Farm Credit. Register on HitThatLine.com.
So, I mean, you guys realize, right, that this song was not made for sports highlights to play over top.
No, I would never pick this as a comeback song, but
this is like, remember when we did the whole breakup music show on Valentine's Day?
This would be a good one for them.
This is the one. This will bring out the tears on Valentine's Day. This is a great breakup song. This is not a sports highlight song, especially the version by Prince. And I guess this is some sort of flex by SmackDown.
Yes,
Natty,
this is solely a flex.
But did I ever say the song sucks?
Yes.
I didn't. No, look, I like Prince. I didn't. No, I said the Sinead O'Connor version is better to me. That doesn't mean I think this one
Fair
sucks.
enough. All right, fair enough.
That we need to have it as a comeback either, because it's not.
One day only.
Yeah. All right. I like upbeat. I like upbeat music to come back to.
It's a whiny song to begin with. I understand what they're feeling like.
Even the instrumentals in the song are kind of weird. You know,
Yeah.
it's like his vocals aren't as strong as hers, and the instruments are. It's a weird arrangement.
Do you want me to do Sinead O'Connor's version tomorrow?
No,
Okay,
because
no.
I don't think that's an appropriate song for a comeback on a sports radio show. We're trying to wake people up, not put them to sleep.
Let's just plan that ahead for Valentine's Day 2022, okay? You put that one in there along with You Can Go Your Own Way and One More Minute and all those other breakup songs we love so much.
One thing I'm going to need you're talking about music.
Reagan Ford Smith, Chris Cornell made a version of that
Yes,
song?
it was on the
I never knew that.
It was either on the Howard Stern show or just Sirius XM, but yeah, it's also very, very depressing. If we were voting on who has the most depressing version, Chris Cornell would win.
Fair enough. One thing I'm going to need y'all's help on here pretty soon. We're not going, obviously not today, but probably next week or the week after. A couple weeks ago, I said I was DJing our prom at the school. So here in a couple weeks, I want to get into like your prom songs, like your first dance prom songs or what you dance to at prom. Because A, it's fun because we know how many text messages we're going to get off based off that. B, I want to fill this playlist up with music that these kids don't have any idea what's good.
Have they ever heard Boys to Men? I'll make.
I was
going to
say
you.
just put Boys to Men, greatest hits on repeat, and that's pretty much my prom.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, they got in trouble.
1994 was mine. What year was yours?
10 and 11 for me. T-Pain was very popular.
Well,
for us.
it would have been the year 2000, but I didn't go to it.
Oh, fair enough.
I wasn't one of these like super social guys like you two were.
Hey, let's go to the phone lines as we get this segment before we wrap up here. Jason in Frankfort, Kentucky's dialed us up. Jason, what's up, brother?
Hey, I'm doing okay. On the lines of music talk, since we're going that route, anything like New Jack Swing, anything from that era, that would have been my.
That's my prom too. That is my prom too.
Yeah, that, and there was, for the country segment, there was Garth Brooks.
Great, yes.
There was just so much between those two.
I remember teaching you New Jack Swing on halftime homework once, SmackDown.
That was a great homework assignment.
Get some Tony, some Janet Jackson. Right. We'll be good.
Yeah, you'll be great. And then my only one that I wish was released during my high school was Return to Mac. That would be one I think you
that's
could
a
probably
great
add
one.
Into,
that one will last the test of time. That's for certain. Jason, we're up against the break here, so we might have to let you go.
All right.
You want to hold
so my love letter to Desi Sills. My love letter to Desi Sills is this: Auburn, January of this year, scored 22 points. That was when the comeback began. They had lost their confidence. They had lost 2 games. Anyway, Desi, peace. Much love to you. Good luck wherever you land. Y'all take care.
That's awesome, Jason. Appreciate it.
I agree. The guy played so hard. He played with a lot of heart. He really did. And I think that's someone that I'd be interested to see. I do think that if he doesn't want to be close to home, and look, Fayetteville was close to home too, as far as I'm concerned. New York City makes a lot of sense for him. St. John's, if Mike Anderson wants him, if the two of them could get back together, I think that could make some sense for Desi and maybe even for Coach A. 877-377-6963. It is Major League Baseball opening day. Arkansas-Auburn later tonight. So we're going to get into baseball next.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names. And tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
If there's ever been a spring to look forward to, it's this one. So when that first bluer than blue sky day hits, we're going for a drive. And whether it's the really, really long way to the store or a short road out of town, the windows will be down and the radio will be up. Michelin wants to help you rediscover the open road between March 17th and April 5th. Get up to $120 total savings via reward card or virtual account after online submission with the purchase of 4 new select Michelin passenger or light truck tires. $70 tire rebate on all tire lines plus $50 service rebate on Michelin Cross Climate 2 and Pilot family of tires. Offer valid 3/17/2021 to 4/5/2021. See www.michelinman.com/promotions and rebates for complete details. Offer expires 4/5/2027. Void where prohibited. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540, exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality BF Goodrich tires and best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter agents Brandon Zimmerman or Chris Dooley about a free insurance review.
Are you trying to sell your home? Then you owe it to yourself to use all the tools available to speed up the process and get the deal you really want. From 3D home tours, videos, and stunning photography, to blanket local advertising and social media blasts, selling your home just got a whole lot easier. Go to nickandellie.com and contact Ellie Glidewell to start putting these smart home selling tools to work for you right now. nickandellie.com. Equal housing opportunity, Saisley and Edwards Realtors.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Sunny sky today. Our high this afternoon will climb to right around the mid-50s north, near 60 south. Clear sky tonight, and overnight low in the upper 20s to low 30s. And then Friday, we wind down this week with sunny skies, our high in the low 60s. We're going to be on our way to the mid-60s on Saturday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Listen to Halftime with Phil Elson, Maddie T, and SmackDown. Now every weekday from 11 to 1.
It's fast. It's exciting.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3. from the Busch Light Studios.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Because this is a proud damn state.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
You can actually feel Razorback Stadium shaking underneath our feet right now.
This is Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Matt Smackdown Jenkins.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious...
Arkansas wins. The Hogs are still dancing to the Elite Eight for the first time since 1995.
I have been waiting for this moment for a long time.
Judging by the sound of it, so has everyone else.
Halftime today is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings in Fort Smith, Conway, Little Rock, Sherwood, and Jonesboro.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar!
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
All right, guess what is going on any minute now, my friends? The first Major League Baseball game of the season is going to be starting very soon. Toronto at the Yankees. Garrett Cole pitching today for the Yanks.
Now, remind me, Toronto's playing in...
Yeah, I think they're using their spring training home in Dunedin, Florida as their home for now. They could still go play in Buffalo for the first part of the first month before the AAA season starts. That's right. They're not allowed to go back and forth over the border still. So I also saw, this is interesting, the Blue Jays are not having a regular radio broadcast. They are simulcasting the television broadcast on the radio, which is the absolute wrong way to go about it. If you're simulcasting, it should be radio over TV, not the other way around. That does not translate well. It's going to upset a lot of Blue Jays fans. Not like I really care all that much about Blue Jays fans.
Speaking of baseball, this isn't Major League Baseball, but it is Razorback Baseball that Phil's very familiar with.
Yeah.
Tommy just came in here and told us we have 2 tickets to give away for tonight's game, and we just need to figure out how to do that, and whoever wins, we'll text them to him, so you guys can come up with a really difficult question to
I'll figure out some way to do this. We've
gotten on this roll with the whole text message machine, so that it's worked really well for us. So 2 tickets for tonight, heck yeah.
I feel like this should be a question that has to do with Auburn somehow. Something involving Auburn baseball that deals with the major leagues. The 2 most famous players, you would probably say 3 most famous players from Auburn would be Tim Hudson, Bo Jackson, and Frank Thomas. Thomas is the only Hall of Famer. I forget Frank Thomas
played for Auburn.
Yeah, the Big Hurt. He played football too. I think we got into that with someone recently. He was a defensive lineman.
That's true.
Yeah, guy was an amazing athlete and a Hall of Famer to boot. So yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with something involving Auburn baseball, I think.
One thing we could do
going.
is we could have people listen to our interview coming up with Andy Burcham and then pick out a question from something from that interview. So we have to make them listen to it.
So this could be something we do in the very.
We'll
do this in the very last
Travis
segment.
over here.
We'll do this in the very last segment of the show, which will be really short because we did go kind of long with Andy Burcham. We recorded it before the show today. So I want to do a little preview of the Arkansas-Auburn series, but I also want to let you know. Kendall from Siloam says it's his birthday. Hook me up. We need better reasons than that, Kendall. Happy birthday. You can't get the tickets just because
Do
it's
we
your
accept
birthday.
bribes?
We're not allowed
to admit it.
Yeah, right. We have
not
to be
allowed to admit it.
Kendall, if we can figure out some way to get you a trivia question that you can answer, then maybe you'll get the tickets. Birthday does not mean it.
Just keep listening to halftime.
Well, you don't know if he's being honest or not. Like my friends and I, when I was 16, 17 years old, there was this restaurant we used to go to in Pittsburgh, and they would give you a free dessert if it was your birthday. But they never checked your driver's license. Like you could be your birthday 5 times a year, and you would get the free dessert. Like who came up with this idea?
I'll top that. We were in college when we were at Tech, and we were hungry. I think we went to Sumo's. I don't remember where we were, but it was a Japanese fried rice restaurant. We faked an engagement to get all of our friends' meals paid for, and it worked.
Now, was it you and your buddy?
Yes, it was.
That's devious.
I proposed.
It's very devious, but it's also quite acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, it worked. We were hungry. We got down on one knee, proposed. Everybody was like, oh my God. And then they were, you want free food? And I was absolutely we do. So it was like, that's all in the house. Happy engagement. So
SmackDown has a question on our rundown here because the baseball season is starting today. And his question really, I mean, you know the answer to this question before you even asked it, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
When shall we see the return of how bad are the Pirates today? So I don't like to do this very often, but I'm going to answer your question with a question.
Okay.
Do the Pirates play today?
See, I saw that question in there. Now, I didn't know if that was like rhetorical because the Pirates suck, or
It's totally rhetorical.
Okay,
yes,
good.
I'm
sorry.
suck.
I read your sarcasm correctly. I'm getting better to know you right now, so I'm proud of myself.
The Pirates do play today. They're in Chicago against the Cubs, and by the way, it's going to be freezing for the day game in Chicago. I'm talking wind chills in the 20s.
Ooh.
So the Pirates play today, so that means, yes, we will do How Bad Are the Pirates Today tomorrow. Because whether they win or lose, I'm going to tell you what, if they win today, it's going to be a large percentage of the wins they get for the entire season. A large percentage. Just one will be a huge percentage.
So do we need to change this segment from today instead of how bad were the Pirates yesterday or how bad are the Pirates tomorrow?
Nope, it's an existing thing. It's happening right now in front of us. When they are bad, it is today. It is right now, and they are horrible before they've even played a single game. That's just truth.
So
that's just truth.
You got to have a little bit of hope for this team, don't you?
Yes, I hope they lose 125 games. That's my hope for this year, so that they can draft either Kumar Rocker or Jack Leiter, one of the two aces from Vanderbilt, and then trade him away at some point and watch him win multiple Cy Young awards with some other team. That's where I am with the Pirates. I love them, and I want them to lose every game they play.
So
what
will restore your hope with the Pittsburgh Pirates? Like where would you find the passion? Like my passion for the Cowboys. Where would you find the like? Okay, this team is for real. Like you
have to understand. Like your thing with the Cowboys is not the same thing with the Pirates with me. The Cowboys don't stink every single year. They weren't good last year. They don't stink every year. They've been in the playoffs. They've had decent teams, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl since the '95 season. So you're not hopeless when you're a Cowboys fan. You're not. You are hopeless when you are a Pirates fan. That's why. There's no correlation between the two of them. What would give me hope? If I died and woke up a Yankees fan. That's what would give me hope.
Whoa.
I would have to die first because the Pirates will never, in any reality that's in like real planet Earth 2021, there is no reality in which they give anybody any hope anytime soon. What they're going to try to do is what the Astros did, which I'm not talking about cheating with the trash cans and all that stuff. They're going to stink for 3 years. They're going to lose 100 games at least for 2, maybe 3 years, and then maybe, because they're burning the thing down. And then when you get like Brian Hayes is a very interesting player, the third baseman. I think he'll be fun to watch. You get a couple other guys like that working their way up through the system. You draft properly. It's one of the problems with them. They draft terribly. So yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. I don't have a team to root for. I'm still maybe looking at I like the Padres. But do I want to stay up that late all the time because they're a West Coast team? I kind of like the White Sox. But the American League is weak this year. The Yankees are the clear favorite in the American League. You would say the Dodgers are the clear favorite in the National League.
Easily.
But still, yes, easily. But look at what they're facing in the Padres, just an hour and a half to the south.
Well, look at their roster. Good Lord, Phil.
Absolutely.
And I'm not arguing with you, but David Price comes back after he took the year off because of COVID. You added Trevor Bauer, and you got Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler. Good Lord, their pitching staff, and you got the redheaded stepchild in Dustin May, or whatever the nickname was.
I'm not sure if Price is going to mean that much to them this year. He's opening the season in the bullpen. But, look, they've got a great rotation. They've got a great roster. It's a terrific team. Padres are the second-best team in the National League, I think. So I just want to stand – and Chad W. wants me to root for the Rangers. Like, they're sort of almost like the version of the Pirates in the American League. Just not quite as bad. They're not going to be good either.
Why don't you root for the Cardinals?
I said something about it have to die first, right? Like, that's probably what would have to happen for me to root for the Cardinals.
Do you have a team, Matty?
Well, the only games I've been to, Major League games, I've been to 2 Cardinals games in St. Louis, so they're not my favorite team. If I had to pick one, I'd say the Braves.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Braves are going to be interesting this year. I think they'll be very interesting. They open up with the Phillies today. Yeah, so I love it. It's opening day. There's 162 games. It's not going to be a weird season. You can actually trust the full season stats that you saw. The 60-game season last year will be the anomaly, and now we can finally get back to a real full baseball season, which will include extra playoffs, if I remember correctly, and hey, I wouldn't be surprised if you end up seeing Yankees-Dodgers in the World Series this year, too. That's chalk for Major League Baseball.
When was, off the top, do you recall the last Yankee World Series appearance?
2009, I think was the last time they won.
It's been a minute since we've had that, and that would be a ratings magnet, my friend.
Like SmackDown, that is, 12 years? That's an incredible amount of time.
Yeah.
An incredible amount of time for the Yankees to go without a World Series appearance. Is it okay to pull for the Mets and James McCann? Yes. I'd still have trouble rooting for the Mets, but I do like McCann. Lindor. They just signed Lindor to a 10-year deal. DeGrom is a lot of. That's a team that's worth watching. 877-377-6963. It's also worth watching Arkansas baseball. They take on Auburn. 3-game series starts tonight. Previewing that after this.
The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
I had your hair, Ty, I'd do better things.
Did you not know that's what happened with Chuck? He had a full, luscious head of hair, and then he said, hey, if they win the 94 national title, I'm shaving it off, and it never grew back. Isn't that true, Clay?
If I were you, it would not be a big concern if you lost all your hair, because it's not doing here.
When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-39.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
This song might make you feel cool, but it perfectly describes a fool. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road and gonna ride till I can't no more, and can't nobody tell me nothing. This path will only lead you to God's wrath, because the Bible says the wicked refuse discipline and treat his words like trash. What good is a nice beat when you're headed down the wrong street? I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite, white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
This song might make you feel cool, but it perfectly describes a fool. I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road and gonna ride till I can't no more, and can't nobody tell me nothing. This path will only lead you to God's wrath, because the Bible says the wicked refuse discipline and treat his words like trash. What good is a nice beat when you're headed down the wrong street? I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
2-2 on Moore. No outs. Ripped to the right field corner, and that takes a bounce to the fence. 1 run scores. Here's the second run. Robert Moore has a cycle, holds at second base. He clears the bases with a 3-run double, and Robert Moore raises his hands up. He has hit for the cycle in 5 plate appearances. Triple, single, home run, double. And Nate Thompson comes and gives him a hug as he takes away the elbow guard. How about that?
Find us on 99.5 and 1290 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs in Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Now, back to the guys. Here's Phil Elson, Matty T, and SmackDown.
Oh, RV weather is fast approaching in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, so you want to make sure you get a hold of the folks at Wheels RV in Springdale. They've had RV show pricing going on for a few months, and you can just show up and shop the industry's best brands at Northwest Arkansas's premier RV dealer. They've got all the brands: Grand Design, Forest Rivers, solar-powered Vibe, all new Alliance RV fifth wheels, and KZ Sportsmen. Plus, they're the only lifetime warranty dealer in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. That's Wheels RV. You'll find them 5 miles west off the interstate, right under the Tawny Town Water Tower, and you can find them also at wheelsrv.net. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV. Arkansas and Auburn have a series starting tonight, 6:30 first pitch. Patrick Wicklander will be on the bump for the Hogs against Cody Greenhill for Auburn. Now, we've got Andy Burcham, an interview that we recorded from earlier this morning, ready to go in about 13 minutes, and Andy is the play-by-play voice of Auburn baseball, men's basketball, and football. Dave Van Horn said to the media yesterday he doesn't care about the record for Auburn, nor should he, because Auburn is probably a lot better than an 0-6 mark. Although I do wonder about this. It's 22 games into a season, so that's more than a third of the games have been played. And they are struggling in close ball games. So maybe that means by now they are who they are. They've lost 7 games that have been decided by 2 runs or less, winning only 3 of them. And they also have lost a handful of 1-run games. So there's something going on with Auburn that they're not doing to win baseball games. This team can hit. 309 team batting average, that's second best in the SEC, 9th overall in the country. Their on-base percentage, their slugging percentage, all in the top quarter of the nation, all in the top 3 in the SEC, and they score 8.2 runs per game, which is a higher scoring output than Arkansas and ranks 16th in the nation. They also don't strike out a lot, nor do they make a ton of errors. But they've struggled on the pitcher's mound. They've had a number of injuries that have taken out some of their starters that Butch Thompson expected to be there to start the season. Well, you're going to see a pretty good pitcher tonight in Cody Greenhill. He's a senior. He's been a closer at Auburn for the previous 3 years. But this year, he's really turned himself into a great pitcher. That's the term Andy used when we talked to him earlier this morning. He is pitching very well. He is changing speeds. And that is the kind of pitcher that has given Arkansas problems, whether it's righty or lefty. Greenhill is a 1.71 ERA. He's had a couple of good SEC starts against good lineups in Ole Miss and in Kentucky. So, you got to discount the idea that Auburn is one of the only 2 teams in the league that doesn't have more wins than losses. They're 11-11, and they're probably better than that record. I will also say the statistical numbers for their offense, for their lineup, I feel you might have to take them with a grain of salt because they played a midweek series against Alabama A&M out of the SWAC. That's a team that I remember. I think it was A&M, Alabama A&M. I think I was filling in for Chuck when he was still doing the baseball games, and I remember watching Alabama A&M walk 20 Arkansas batters in a 9-inning game. You almost have to be trying to do that. So, I mean, look at the numbers that Auburn had against 2 games against Alabama A&M. They scored 51 runs against the Alabama A&M quote-unquote pitching staff. They've scored 181 runs in the 22 games this season. They scored 51 of them in 2 games. So if you remove that, it's really something. If you remove those 2 games, you know how you'll do this? You'll remove, you remove your top test score, your bottom test score, and pretty much you're going to get your mean test score. So if I were just to take away the top 2 games offensively for Auburn, I feel you can do that because Alabama A&M pitching is probably not even up to the level of most Division II pitching staffs. That's just a fact in the SWAC. It's bad pitching. They score about 1.5 runs per game fewer when you take away the 2 games against Alabama A&M. So the numbers statistically, offensively for Auburn, I feel like you take them with a bit of a grain of salt, 2 or 3 grains of salt. But there's even without that, they're still a pretty good hitting team. So it's going to test the Arkansas pitching staff for this weekend. Their pitching has struggled. 4.76 team ERA. That's the second worst in the SEC. They have the second highest WHIP in the SEC, which is walks and hits per innings pitched. So the Arkansas Bats may have an opportunity to get going really this weekend. And we do have a caller on hold. You can call us at 877-377-6963. Jackie in Siloam Springs. Hey, Jackie, what's going on?
How's it going today, guys?
Fired up about a baseball game in the opening of the Major League season.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you, but man, Auburn coming to town. Yeah, they've lost some close games, but I'm afraid that on the flip side of what you were saying, they might have got it figured out, and now they kind of know how to win those close games. So I'm totally in agreement with let's don't worry about that 0-6, and let's just focus on playing good, solid baseball. And you're talking about
I think Jackie, I'll just jump in for a moment here. I think that's what they're focusing on. You scout the opponent. You know what they've got as far as pitching is concerned, as far as their hitters are concerned, but all you can really control are your own players, what you're working on and everything. Arkansas is playing pretty darn good baseball right now. I don't think Auburn's figured anything out yet. They're still in the process of trying to figuring it out because they're coming in here on a 6-game conference losing streak. They haven't figured anything out yet. This is not the weekend, hopefully, for them to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Let them figure it out next weekend, right?
Yeah.
Jackie. But the opening day of baseball today, my oldest son goes to Arkansas, and he called me this morning. He said, "Hey, man, I already got all my classwork done for the day." And I said, "Man, why'd you do that?" And he said, "Hey, all I'm going to do is spend the rest of the day is watching baseball all day long." And he's going to school to kind of follow in the lines of you guys, and he's broadcast journalism. And I said, "Why are you going to do is sit around and watch baseball all day?" And he said, "Well, the way I see it is, I believe I'm just going to do a little bit of research and development today." Okay.
That's good thinking there, Jackie. Wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's really good thinking, Jackie. And I got to tell you, like when I was young and the Pirates would have their home opener in the afternoon on the road, or not their home opener, but the road opener in the afternoon, I brought my Walkman to school, and I didn't pay attention to the teacher, and I listened to the game. And that also was doing some research for what it is that I'm doing these days. And Jackie, I really appreciate that phone call. Thanks for dialing in here. One more call, and then we got to have a break. And we've also got to figure out how we're going to give away these tickets for the Auburn-Arkansas game today. How about this? What Hall of Fame pitcher son is on the Auburn pitching staff? And we'll leave it at that. There is a Hall of Fame Major League pitcher. His son is a pitcher for the Auburn Tigers. Who is it? And we'll go to Aaron in Springdale before we go to the break. Hey, Aaron, you're on halftime.
How you doing, guys? You having a good day?
Outstanding. Yeah, especially since you called. What's up?
Oh, fantastic, man. Hey, I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this already, about Roy Williams retiring.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, as a Razorback fan and Coach Muss, you know how good he did. Is that a little scary? Do you guys think we should worry about that? That's one of the first things that popped in my head when I saw that on
Aaron, I don't worry about it very much because look at the history that North Carolina has of hiring coaches. They're looking for North Carolina guys to lead that program. At least that's what's been the history for the last 25 years, ever since Dean Smith retired. So I do think Muss is one of the best basketball coaches in the country. So maybe they do come after him. But I do have a sense that the Tar Heels want Tar Heel guys, and that's who I think they'll go after. I'm not sure who it's going to be, but Muss is not a Tar Heel guy, and he's not an East Coast guy at all. All right, we will have our friend Andy Burcham of the Auburn Tiger Radio Network joining us in just a moment here on Halftime. And again, the question to get your tickets, we will take the text that says, who is the Hall of Famer whose son is on the pitching staff for the Auburn Tigers? It'll get you a couple of tickets. Is it 2 or 4 tickets, guys?
2 tickets.
2 tickets for
and
tonight's
they are
game.
darn good seats.
We have nothing but good seats for ESPN Arkansas at Razorback baseball games. And we have nothing but a pretty good talk with Andy Burcham, which includes some talk about Auburn football right after this, so stay tuned.
O'Reilly. This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the 3rd time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we have everything you need to take on that oil change. It's easier than you think. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 synthetic high-mileage motor oil, an STP air filter, and an STP extended life oil filter for just $36.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Getting your job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Tommy Craft for the Fence Man. If you've always wanted powered automatic gates at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man does it all. Custom wrought iron installations, automatic gates, even controlled access systems, and lots more. Ask about 18-month, same as cash financing with approved credit. For your custom fence and gate needs, call the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Easter is almost here, and Randall Ford wants to make sure you have an excellent holiday. Hop on in this week and bring the kids by to pick up a free Easter basket. We didn't forget about the big kids either. We have free grown-up Easter baskets as well. So don't be a silly rabbit and miss out on your chance to save money on a new or a pre-owned vehicle, and pick up a free Easter basket at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or shop us online at randallford.com. Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. For all the moments you want a beer and need to stay on your game. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
In the mood for a top shelf night, 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge has your number. Sit back, relax, and enjoy select wines, top shelf spirits, and handcrafted cocktails in a rich, comfortable, sanitized setting with state-of-the-art air filtration. Indulge in one of their delicious appetizers, sandwiches, salads, or specialty items for carry-out or dine-in. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Stop by 906 Garrison Avenue in Fort Smith. 906 Garrison in Fort Smith. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, defining nightlife in downtown Fort Smith.
Frankrow Furniture is having an April Super Stimulus and Tax Refund Sale. Save hundreds of dollars. Sofas, loves, sectionals, and recliners, all made in the USA. Big savings for our finance customers and extremely large savings on cash sales. Family owned, in-store no credit check financing, and service after the sale. Frankrow Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Best seats in the house.
Bills, kids, school, toilet paper. Who is buying all the canned chickpeas? Delayed shipments, masks, pandemic, elections. You're on mute. Riots, air fryers, test results, streaming services, the playoffs, unfriended. You can turn it all off, you know, at least for a while. The rhythmic sound of your feet on the pavement, the sun peeking through the clouds on a quiet morning. Let us show you how to leave it all behind. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Pitch lined into center. Franklin on the run, diving and catching. Great play. Christian Franklin, who already has had a huge impact with 2 long balls, makes a diving, sprawling catch in short left center field off a line drive by Cameron James.
start the left-handed Hatcher with a fastball. He grounds it sharply right side. Nice stop by Robert Moore from the outfield. He pirouettes, he throws, and gets him at first. And the gloves continue to sparkle tonight in Starkville.
Need a little bit more halftime in your life? Make sure to download the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. Eastside Liquor in Fort Smith has the best deals in the River Valley on liquor, beer, and wine. Stop by 9390 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith and make sure to check out their Facebook page for weekly specials. The Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast is part of the Hit That Line Podcast Network and is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back on Halftime. It is a Thursday, and most of the SEC is starting their baseball series tonight. I think there's a couple that are starting tomorrow that will play on Easter Sunday. But Arkansas-Auburn gets going tonight, 6:30, 6 o'clock for the pregame. Let's talk about that with the voice of Auburn Athletics, Andy Burcham, joining us here on Halftime. Had him on a few times before. We talk football, basketball, and baseball with Andy. Andy, how you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing well, Phil. How are you guys today? Nice and chilly here in Fayetteville. My goodness.
Yeah, we had a nice little freeze overnight. Might get the same thing later on. But we got a couple of teams here that can hit. So I don't know what I'm not going to make any predictions on what we'll see. But, I mean, you get the team that's got the most home runs in the nation in Arkansas, team that's got the 16th best runs per game average in Auburn. So it seems that we might see quite a bit of offense this weekend.
You would hope so, and I guess it depends on what kind of wind we'll see down at Baum Walker Stadium as well. I've been here a bunch where the wind has been blowing out. I've also been here where the wind was blowing in and the ball didn't travel at all. But obviously that hasn't been a problem for the Razorbacks this season, and Auburn for the most part has hit the ball well and hopes to come in and get 3 good games with the Razorbacks. Ranked number 1 in the country. That's impressive.
Well, and it feels like Auburn might be a little bit snake bit right now. One of only 2 teams in the league that don't have more wins than losses, but a lot of really close games. 7 losses by 2 runs or less, including 5 of those in the SEC. So does it seem that they're this close to breaking through, or is there something going on with Auburn that why they're losing these close games?
Well, I mean, Auburn had 2 one-run losses at Ole Miss on the first weekend of play, including a 1-0 game on the opening night in Fayetteville, and then lost 3 games last weekend at home to Kentucky, another team that can hit, by the way, and lost the first game by a run in extra innings, or by 2 runs in extra innings, and then lost a doubleheader first game that Kentucky won in its last at-bat by a run after Auburn had scored and tied the game, and then lost by 2. And it seems as though there are snake bit may be a best way to put it. There have been times where Auburn has had grand opportunities and hasn't come through. There have been times where Auburn's pitching, especially the starting pitching, has not been able to get Auburn into the ball games well, and Auburn's had to fight back to try and get into the game and have done that, and then just couldn't close it. I wouldn't say there's one thing that has hurt this Auburn team, but there have been just a couple things. And it just doesn't get any easier. I mean, you're at Arkansas, which is number 1 in the country this weekend. Auburn comes back home to face Mississippi State next week. And the first part of this conference schedule is very, very tough for a team right now that is trying to establish itself in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, and it's also so difficult in this league to dig out from a tough start in the SEC. And it's just because of what you just mentioned there. I mean, when you're in the West and you start 0-6, it's tough to dig out from that. So the guys, apparently, Butch says they're still playing hard. They're giving everything they had. Dave Van Horn says that he discounts the 0-6 record. He thinks this is a dangerous club. They have one of the best hitters in the league right now. Tyler Miller, the first baseman, leads the league in batting average, one of the top batting averages in the country, leads the league in home runs. Tell us about Tyler Miller, the first baseman for Auburn.
I would say that he's been a little bit of a surprise right now. A pleasant surprise, obviously. A guy that is a shortstop by trade coming into Auburn, but is playing first base for the Tigers and is a good defensive first baseman for Auburn, uses his shortstop skills well at first base. But he's not the prototypical big hulking first baseman that you see. Very quick bat from the left side, has hit the ball very, very well, obviously, with his batting average, and hits for power. surprisingly. You look at the frame, and you don't see a power hitter in him, and yet he leads Auburn in home runs and runs batted in, and he's played very, very well for Auburn, and has done it the first 2 weekends of the SEC as well. It hasn't just come against non-conference opponents. So he has been a pleasant surprise for this Auburn ball club, and Auburn's certainly hoping that continues this weekend.
Let's talk pitching for Auburn here for a moment. You guys start Cody Greenhill today. I know he'd been closed in the last couple of years. I read about a foot injury that he had in February that's changed his approach a little bit, but hasn't changed his effectiveness at all. When you look at the rest of the team, though, there's a lot of high ERAs. A couple of relievers that look like they've done very well. But as far as starting pitching goes, Greenhill has been the most consistent starter, hasn't he?
Well, and injuries have hurt the starting rotation. That's the one thing, because Auburn's starting rotation that they expected at the beginning of this year has not pitched this season. Jack Owen, who likely will get the start tomorrow for Auburn, will make his first start of the season. Injured, dislocated the middle finger on his throwing hand before the season began in practice. So he gets his first start. Richard Fitz, a preseason All-American and a guy that was expected to be a very high draft pick, has also suffered the same kind of injury that Cody Greenhill has, a foot injury, and has not started since the second weekend of or the second weekend of the regular season. So that has been the one thing. Injuries have hurt the rotation for this Auburn team. And Greenhill is a guy, as you mentioned, that was Auburn's closer in his career, and they moved him into the starting rotation this year. And he had suffered a foot injury in the Round Rock tournament, the second weekend of the year down in Round Rock, Texas, and was out for a couple weeks and has come back. And this was a guy that, as a closer, would throw 94, 95. And as a starter, since the injury, has relied much more on a slider and a very good change that he developed in the offseason. So he has been different, and his velocity is slowly recharging, so to speak, for Auburn. But he has been more of a pitcher rather than a thrower in his last couple outings, and has been very, very good at doing that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, that the sort of pitcher you just described, what Greenhill's turned himself into right now, is the kind of pitcher that has given Arkansas some problems this year. Good change of speed with the ability to command. Obviously these teams didn't play last year, but there are a lot of guys on this Auburn team that were part of the 2019 club that went to the College World Series, as Arkansas did. Both teams went 0-2 there, but they played a really memorable series at Plainsman Park. You remember that series, Andy. You got rained out Thursday, doubleheader Friday with a lot of emotion in that doubleheader. The second game went 15 innings, and then the Saturday just felt like residue from the comeback win Arkansas had in the second game. I imagine that's, you play so many teams that you can't just single out one, but that's got to be in the back of some of these veterans' minds for Auburn.
It is, I think, but boy, that seems like such a long time ago, doesn't it? I mean, when you have a COVID year where the teams didn't even, there was no SEC baseball a year ago, and I think perhaps the way that this team has started in the SEC, their attention is to what's going on right now. But that was a terrific series. Auburn and Arkansas have played some very good series in the past, and it's going to be a tough chore for Auburn this weekend. It certainly knows that, and is just trying to overcome what has been a very, very tough start in SEC play.
Andy Bertram, the voice of the Auburn Tigers, joining us here on Halftime. Andy, I feel like we can't let you go here without talking a little bit of Auburn football and a team that is going through a lot of transition right now. No more Gus Malzahn, the new era under Brian Harsin. How's the transfer of power been from Malzahn to the new head Auburn Tiger?
Well, it's been very smooth, and it's a very different atmosphere, to be sure, around. They're two different individuals in how they go about doing things, and a practically brand new staff for Auburn as well. You look, I mean, there's only one holdover from the staff before, and that's Carnell Williams, Auburn's tailbacks coach. Everybody else is new. It's a brand new staff. It's a brand new head coach. It's a brand new way of doing things. He and Gus Malzahn are very different from a personality standpoint as well. So, and Auburn is 2 weeks deep into spring practice at this point. They're taking this week off from spring practice. They'll resume spring practice and get ready for the A-Day game on the 17th. So very, very different in the way Auburn is going about things right now. And will be very, very interesting to see how the rest of the spring practice goes and just how this Auburn team forms as it gets ready for the 2021 season.
You mentioned the holdovers the one holdover with the staff and a completely new staff at that. The one I wanted to ask you about Derek Mason, the former Vanderbilt head coach, now the new DC with the Auburn Tigers, and I've seen this comparison being thrown around a little bit, comparing Derek Mason's situation to that of Barry Odom here at Arkansas. Derek Mason's in a great spot to, I don't want to say necessarily to revitalize his career, but he could do a lot of good in bringing a strong defense to the Auburn Tigers this year.
Well, it's the same way on the offensive side. I mean, both of Auburn's coordinators are former head coaches. Mike Bobo on the offensive side, the former Georgia quarterback, and Derek Mason, the former Vanderbilt head coach, on the defensive side. So you've got some head coaches in those coaching rooms, former head coach in those coaching rooms. I'll be very interested to see what Derek Mason does with this Auburn defense, and I'll be very interested to see what Mike Bobo does with the quarterbacks, and especially Bo Nix, who will be going into his junior season for Auburn. So, and I've talked to Brian Harsin about this, and, he likes having those, and it wasn't as though he was going out looking for head coaches to become his coordinators. He said that was just a bonus. So he's got head coaches in those rooms that he can bounce ideas off of and talk about situations. And listen, Brian Harsin's been a head coach for quite some time as well, was at Arkansas State for the 1 year before he headed back to Boise State, his alma mater, to become a head coach as well. So I like this staff. I like the way they put this staff together, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this Auburn team does in this first year under this brand-new staff.
You mentioned Bo Nix just a moment ago and offensive coordinator Mike Bobo. What does Bo Nix and what does Mike Bobo need to focus on with Bo Nix to ascend him into the upper echelon of the SEC quarterbacks? We've seen glimpses of what Bo Nix can do with his arms and with his legs, but hasn't been able to consistently make that next step. What, in your mind, does Bo Nix need to do to make that next step to be categorized in amongst the SEC elite quarterbacks?
Yeah, easier said than done. It's got to be consistency, game in and game out. There are times where he's been spectacular, and there are times where he has struggled. And sometimes it's happened in the same game, and I like Bo Nix. I think he's a very, very good quarterback. He will be working under his third coordinator in 3 years, and that can be very, very tough. I'm hoping for some stability there. With Mike Bobo as the offensive coordinator, and Brian Harsin is a former quarterback himself and a former offensive coordinator in his career. So hopefully Bo is able to take this knowledge from these two men and become the consistent quarterback that Auburn is looking for game in and game out. Now, how that happens, guys, I'm not certain. But that's what I believe Auburn needs more than anything else out of Bo, is to be that consistent player for the Tigers.
Let's close out on a baseball thought here, Andy. It is Major League Baseball opening day. I'm more into the college thing right now as far as baseball goes until our season's over. Then I'll pay really close attention to the major leagues. I'm from Pittsburgh. I love the Pirates. I kind of want them to lose every game they play just because they could. Who's your team, Andy? Who do you focus on when it comes to Major League Baseball?
I grew up 50 miles from St. Louis, so I'm
yes,
a Cardinals
sir.
fan. Have been. Our entire family is that way. My sister lives in Springdale, and we are Cardinal people. And you would not be in our family if you weren't. So I'm interested to see how the Cardinals do. Do they have enough pitching this year? Have they finally spent enough money to improve their team? We'll find out. But no, I've been a Cardinal fan since I was born.
Now, there's no better corner infielders in the game than the two that they have. And I'll tell you what, Andy,
I
married into a Cardinals family, and then I divorced from a Cardinals family. So that's how it worked out for me. Appreciate your time. See you at the ballpark tonight. Thanks for everything, Andy.
Lots of layers tonight, guys. Lots of layers.
Right. That's exactly right. I'm going to go T-shirt, then I'm going to go polo shirt, then I'm going to go long sleeve, then I'm going to go regular Razorback jacket, and we'll call it a day. We'll see how that goes.
I will have 4 layers on by the time I get there.
That's Andy Burcham in his 27th year calling Auburn Tigers baseball games. Also the voice of football and men's basketball there on the Plains. Stay tuned. More halftime right after this.
We've got the wings, you've got the mouth. Watch basketball the right way with Buffalo Wild Wings. Get the breakaway bundle and receive 30 award-winning wings for only $29.99. 15 traditional and 15 boneless, plus fries for only $29.99. Order takeout or delivery online through the Beat-Ups app. Locations in Little Rock, Fort Smith, Sherwood, Jonesboro, and Conway. What are you waiting for? Watch with wings and get buckets. Available at participating locations for a limited time, dine-in, and takeout only. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar!
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Do you own apartment complexes, condos, and rental property? Then you have made a great investment. Now make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily offers full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, and all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and frustrations out of ownership and call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese. He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Ask Shelter agent Phil Hicks about a free insurance review.
Looking for the perfect solution to buying a pool this summer without breaking the bank? Hi, Tommy Kraft here for my good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. Enjoy family time in your own backyard this summer with a 15-foot semi-in-ground pool from Burton Pools and Spas, starting at just $99.97. Have the backyard you've always dreamed of. Spend time with family and vacation in your own backyard with Burton's. Semi-in-ground pools, again, start at $99.97. And you can count on Burton's. They've been around for more than 40 years, so you know they'll be there to help take care of you. 15-foot semi-in-ground pools start at just $99.97 at Burton Pools and Spas. Find them in Fort Smith at 6121 South 0 Street and in Springdale just off I-49 at the 412 exit. And see all their above-ground and in-ground pools online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas. They're your source for backyard fun.
Make your car buying experience better at Hertz Car Sales. The goal is to provide customers with a wide selection of low-mileage, extra-clean vehicles, providing their buyers with a better way to drive. A professional sales staff, quality customer service, along with a relaxing atmosphere is what you find every time at Hertz Car Sales. What are you waiting for? Make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or call them today at 783-1722. You can also check them out online at buyfromhertz.com. Hertz Car Sales, when you're ready.
Spring is here, and Jelco Outdoors has all the great gear for getting outside and enjoying the great outdoors. Hiking shoes and boots by Danner, Keen, and Solomon. All your fishing gear for crappie, bass, and catfish. Fishing kayaks, clothing, footwear, and more. Check out the great selection at Jelco. Turkey hunters, Jelco has all the calls and gear to help you bag that big tom this spring. Get out and enjoy spring. Get to Jelco Outdoors for all your spring gear. 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
This is ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
2-1. Here's the pitch. A swing and a ball hit well to deep left center field. That ball's going to go. It is out of here, and the Hogs have the lead in the fifth inning. On Franklin's third home run of the series, his team leading seventh of the year. It's 5-4.
Are you out of the morning rush or halftime radio listening area? No worries. Watch halftime on the Votalaw.com live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Phil Votan Associates. You've never met a lawyer like Phil.
Oh, we have our winner for tonight's baseball tickets. The answer to the question, which Hall of Famer has a son that pitches for the Auburn Tigers? Tom Glavine is the Hall of Famer, and Peyton Glavine is his son. I should have done another question based on that one, which would have been, what Hall of Famer who has a who has a son on the Auburn pitching staff was not only drafted into Major League Baseball, but was drafted into the NHL too. Tom Glavine was a great hockey player as well.
I guess I knew that.
Yeah,
interesting.
Obviously, he didn't choose to go pro in hockey.
I think it worked out well for him.
Yeah, big plans tonight. If you want to head over to 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge in Fort Smith at 906 Garrison Avenue in the Fort. They're open tonight until midnight, Friday and Saturday until 1. They have boneless wings now, which we called sauce nugs, but on their website, 906lounge.com, they call them boneless wings. Must be the same thing. Got a premium small plate menu, best cigars that you'll find anywhere in the state. These ones are rolled by hand, and top shelf spirits. It's 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Plus, you're not going to smell like a cigar when you get out of there. They have the state-of-the-art airflow system, replaces the air every 4 minutes. 906lounge.com to learn more, and again, you'll find them at 906 Garrison Avenue in Fort Smith.
So congratulations to our winner for those tickets to tonight's game. Marty Martin in Fayetteville was the winner for today's tickets, and he'll be getting those texts to you very soon here, Marty. And got a lot of correct answers to this, but we'll be doing this throughout the rest of the regular season. We're had that almost to the halfway point of the season. We'll be doing this throughout the rest of the season.
So let's see. The next SEC team to come into Baum Walker is Texas A&M. I have to figure out some sort of question about them. Then Georgia and Florida, the remaining SEC weekend series. Little Rock is the team Arkansas plays next Tuesday and Wednesday, so I think that should be fun. It's a huge series with Auburn. Any weekend series in the SEC is gigantic. And by the way, Auburn isn't just 0-6 in the SEC. They're 0-7 against SEC teams. That also includes losing to Texas A&M in a non-conference game at I think it was the Dell Diamond in Round Rock at the end of February. So, yeah, this is a team that hasn't figured it out. And this is not the place for them to figure it out. And I'm not making any predictions on this, but the way Arkansas has played, the way their pitching looked this last weekend against Mississippi State, I would expect Arkansas to go out there and play some really good baseball.
We had a text come in here earlier talking about who's on the bump tonight for the Hogs.
We got Wicklander tonight, and then it's Vermillion Friday. Saturday is Lyle Lockhart. So Wick is pitching on one-day short rest, but I don't think it'll affect him all that much. He went 5 innings last time and was really good against Mississippi State. What I'll be looking for is, does this mean Peyton Paulette is the first man out of the bullpen? And is Paulette?
That's the way it was last weekend, right?
Well, it was, and I wonder if this is going to be a piggyback situation where every time that Wicklander starts, that Paulette is the first one out of the pen to maybe finish the game. Because if you get that situation going to start a series, you are resting almost all of your relievers for the final 2 games of the weekend. That's gigantic. If you can get 2 pitchers to combine for 9 innings, and none of them are any of the setup relievers or closers that Dave and Matt have chosen to use. It's not, you come out of the bullpen, you're not a starter, but if you go 4 innings, you're kind of going starter's innings for what Arkansas has done. I know they hope for 4 innings out of Wicklander. 5 is great. That's what he gave him last week. But then Paulette comes out, and what you end up with is a left-handed starting pitcher and a right-handed reliever. Both have completely different stuff, totally different looks. And I think it would really screw some batters up quite a bit. It screwed Mississippi State up quite a bit last weekend.
So we'll see how that all turns out. But I think we talked early in the season about just like the duo of, what we start the year off, Paulette and Bolden. Is that what the conversation was? With like kind of a tag team.
Yeah.
You go 4, you go 4.5, I go 3, and something along those lines. So maybe this could be the new thing, Wicklander and Paulette.
It didn't work for Bolden because they put him back in the rotation one game, and he just hasn't thrown enough strikes. Paulette is a strike thrower. I think he was more jacked up for that Alabama game than anything else, and he should be ready to go here, especially if he's coming out of the bullpen and might not feel that pressure of being the starting pitcher.
And it's going to be a gorgeous Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Now, this isn't the traditional Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, so if you're making your plans to try to, if you can secure tickets, it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday because of Easter on Sunday, so make sure you keep that in mind. But it's Sunday, one way or another, it's going to be gorgeous this afternoon, a little bit chilly, but Friday, Saturday looks perfect.
And then Sunday, since we have no game and I don't celebrate Easter, I'm heading to the Game Day Lodge to meet up with Tommy and Ty, and I can't wait to see what that place is like with the 19 beds and the 17 televisions. I'll start to scope out all my places to watch the national championship game because I'm watching it on all 17
We're going to have to figure out a rotation for you, like every media timeout or every switch every 4 minutes.
Yeah, I've got to be that Rolling Stone that gathers no moss.
Right.
Can't sit in one spot for too long.
What are you going to be tying? Because I know they've got the basketball court, they've got the foosball table, the
everything.
My man.
Just life in general.
Everything. I'll beat him in everything. That's pretty much my whole goal in life.
You've succeeded so far, haven't you?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. He's doing 3 hours instead of 2. He's on the morning show instead of the afternoon, so maybe he's beating me. I don't know.
But we all know that the halftime is like the show.
This
right?
is the real show.
Yes.
This is the real show. That's right. And I got another one with Bubba later on today, and that'll be a real show too. And then we get to do this all again tomorrow for another real show.
On a Friday.
On a Friday, that's right. The real weekend can begin. So have yourself a great rest of your Thursday. Don't forget 6 o'clock airtime baseball. And for Matty T and SmackDown, this is Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places